Hey guys, welcome. This is Mark, Crypto Boy in Oz. It is Monday, the 28th of June, and I should be at work. But the more I do crypto, the more I do these channels, the less I want to actually go to work for a living. And I just wish crypto would hurry the hell up, give me life changing wealth. And when I say life changing, I don't mean that much wealth. I don't need millions upon millions. Just pay my mortgage off. That's all I want. I mean, obviously, I'll continue doing crypto. I'll continue investing in crypto, but just pay my mortgage off. I'm not asking for much, and then I can concentrate on this full time, which I could easily do. I could easily do 2 videos a week. I'm probably getting to the stage where I'd probably go live. Um, Maybe wait till I've got some more subscribers so people are in the comments and they can ask me questions or whatever. But it's something I could easily do full time because I love it. And this morning, it was forecast rain, I think, the day before yesterday on Friday. It said it was going to rain Sunday, Monday. Yesterday, it never stopped raining. Today, it's not rained at all. Have I gone to work? No. I couldn't actually I couldn't push myself to go. And if I've no commitments to meet anybody, and I can rearrange work to do it on other days, then I think that's what to be honest, I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm making a conscious decision now. I've said this to my wife actually that I should only do a 4-day week. Debating about having either Mondays off or Fridays off, and I think I've made the decision. I think Mondays are my day off. That's it. Because I've had enough. I've had enough of going to work. Fortunately, I'm in a position where I work for myself, and if I can cram a 5-day workload into a 4-day week, then I will. To be honest, if I could cram a 5-day week into a 3-day week, I would. So I'm just going to do that from now on. And that way I can spend more time doing stuff that I love doing, which is making content. And okay, I've said before, I'm not going to be as um, good as all these other channels because they've been doing it for years. You look at Altcoin Daily, Cryptos Are Us, BitBoy Crypto, um, Crypto Man Ran. I mean, even though Crypto Man Ran is like worked on TV before, I think he's done CNBC. They've got all this experience and they've got all this knowledge, and I'm pretty new in the game, but I feel like I've learned a lot in a short period of time, and now it's just a case of brushing up on the skills. I might say, which is pretty much instead of knowing a lot about a little, maybe know more about a little. So I don't want to know a lot about a little, and I don't want to know a little about a lot. I want to be somewhere in between, which I think over time just comes anyhow. So today I just wanted to just look at the charts and just see where we're at. And if you look, let's bring it up. So we're on coin market cap now. Everything's looking pretty damn rosy, and slowly but surely the prices are slowly coming back up and the market cap is coming back up. Because if we just go up here to the top, so we look at the market cap, $1.377 trillion. Now, a couple of days ago, that was like 1.2, and I'm just getting a feeling we're going to start seeing a change sooner or later, because there's for a few weeks now, the whales have been trying to get the price down. They've been trying, and to a degree they've succeeded, but it's not been there long enough. Like if you look back here, so the very first drop in price where it really bottomed out, which is 30,000, And then I think it was less than a week later, it was 31,000. And it's kind of been going sideways, but over the last couple of weeks, the trajectory has kind of been coming down and down and down. And even now, it's looking positive. It's peaked. It's got up to 34, almost 35,000 a few hours back. But at the minute, it's still a lower high. Like if we look at these trend lines, what I've put in, it did break the trend line, which is good. But it's not only got to break that trend line; it's got to get above this previous high, which is roughly $35,600. So until it breaks that previous high, it's not looking bullish. It's still looking bearish because we've here. Like if you look here, I mean, do you count this? Wick? I mean, I kind of say that is a lower low and a lower high. Now you could argue the case it's a higher low, but that was not there for long. Like that's on the 4-hour chart. If we jump down to the 1 hour, fair enough. It was probably there for a couple of hours. 1, 2, 3 hours all in all. It was down at that point on the 1 hour chart. So you could argue, I suppose, that it is a higher low. But this is still a lower low, and makes you wonder where it's going to go from here. Like, is it going to break out? Are we going to see more of an uptrend? I just want it to get over that 35.6, because as soon as it gets in this kind of region here, so I'm looking. So I'm looking between 35.5 and 36.5. I think if it gets into that area, then that should form some kind of support on that price range, which then can take us up higher. So if we imagine like here now, it might dip down to this trend line, and then that'll form a resistance. Then it go back up, and it could break. Once it breaks 35.6, who knows where it could go. I mean, it could just keep going up a little bit more, but chances are it's going to have a bit of a retracement, and then hopefully, then what it'll do, then it'll form support on that 35.6 mark, and then could go up, could go down. No one really knows, but going off support lines, going off trend lines, going off resistance lines, it's where stop losses are placed. It's where buy orders are placed. So there is a bit of science behind it. It's not just complete randomness. That's why when you draw these trend lines, that's why they work. Because anyone that does TA uses the same thing. They use trend lines, they form support, they form resistance, and they set buy orders, they set limit orders, they set stop losses, all at these key levels. And that's why you see the candles hitting them and bouncing off, or sometimes they do go through them because there just isn't enough. There isn't enough momentum to stop it. There isn't enough buying power to push it back up, or obviously the opposite when it's sending it down. So, but again, I'm no TA, and could I have done this? Could I have done this 2 months ago? No way, Jose. No way, Jose. It's like down here when you're looking at the. Obviously, I don't pay for my trading view, but then when you look down here at the stock RSI, it's really at its top level over here. So I imagine this is gonna be pulling back. So I think this price point now is going to be coming down. But will it form? Will it bounce off this previous kind of support line? Because it could do. It could just. It could use that as like a resistance and then send it back up again. But probably need, I reckon, another 2 candles to kind of 2 or 3 candles. Which, what time is it now? It's 3. So probably going to be mid-morning, 12 hours from now. We're going to get an idea of where it's going to go from here. But if you don't trade it, you don't really need to worry about it. If you're holding it, that's all you need to do. That tends to be the case for what I'm going to do. What I'm doing with my kind of long-term portfolio. I just do mess about with some of the small percentage, probably about 20%. So I've got like a main portfolio which I went through on a previous video yesterday. Well, not main, but private personal portfolio. And then I've got my pension portfolio. The pension one, I do take about 20% of that and tend to play with it a bit, like trying to trade certain coins. I actually missed out on Terra. I sold it and I was greedy. I didn't do what I preach. I was greedy and I wanted a bit more for my money. And I should have actually bought back in and I didn't. And the price didn't come down to where I actually wanted it to come down to. So I ended up losing it, and the price is kind of doing quite well at the minute. If we just take a look at it, Luna. Oh, it's come off there. Like it broke through the trend line, which bounced off there. So it formed here, bounced off here, bounced off here. So this is like the 3rd attempt, and it actually broke it, but then it's come back down and it's kind of used it as like it's like it's a support. And is it going to break through again? I don't know. But it's 531, and I needed to. I was so silly. I should have bought it back around here, this price, 5. I had it. I could have bought it back here, 508, 59. And I wanted it to come down to about 502, 503. And if I hadn't been greedy, I'd have got it. And then I'd have actually been selling it here. I'd have put a sell order in on this trend line, and I'd have been doing well again because I'd have sold at 542 and 530. So sometimes you just think, is it better just to buy and hold? Does make you wonder. And I think long term, it's probably a good strategy. But I just like playing with it on like a 20% kind of scale. So it just gets me used to trading. It gives me more confidence. What I wanted to look at is the heat map. This is nice. So everything today is pretty much green. Nothing has gone through the roof. Everything's kind of just teetering around 4 to 6%. Nothing special, nothing standing out that's gone through the roof. Not on these main coins anyway. Well, apart from ICP. ICP had a massive pump. But it depends how you look at it, because if you look at ICP over the last couple of months on the charts, you can't even see this 45% pump because they're down so much. They were up to $600. So is it really a pump? It is if you just got into it. Maybe you made some good money on it, but if you got into it a while back, then you're still not going to be too best pleased. So Ethereum's almost up to 2,000. I mean, Bitcoin, it's got really close to 35. I'll be glad. Let's have a look at. Let's go back to Ethereum. Bitcoin, it's got to get over this level. If it breaks 35.7, then that's really bullish. And I mean, if it actually breaks 36.5, it's not only got over the previous high, it's gone over the previous highs to that as well, which are going back to the 19th of June, which you think it's a long time ago, and it's like not even 2 weeks. But that'll be really bullish if it can get over. I mean, for starters, 35.6 would be brilliant. But then if it does get above 36.6, then that's a good sign that we're going to continue upwards. Because personally, I don't think we're going to go back down below 30,000 before the previous low. Like, it spiked down on this wick of the candle to 28.6 thereabouts. So if anyone picked it up there, they got a bargain. But I can't see it going down, and it's like they've tried to push it down, and they did push it down here. But then as soon as it went down, then the whales what are obviously buying Bitcoin up, the investors, the institutions, the big corporations, the hedge funds, they're just buying it up, and because they're happy with the price, they're happy with this price point, $30,000. That's the price they're happy to pay. So, like, how can it go lower? Like, really, like, realistically, how can it go that low? Because as soon as it gets anywhere near, as this proved here, I mean, I'm sure this was supposed to go lower than it did, but as soon as it starts getting anywhere near $30,000, it's being bought up, which is stopping it going down any further. So I just can't see it. Like, I think that is gonna be pretty much the bottom, and maybe, just maybe, this is going to be the actual reversal trend that we've been waiting for. I mean, I still think we'll probably go sideways for a bit. We may get above 36. But again, I don't think it's going to rock it up like anytime soon. I don't think we're going to be over 40,000 in the next couple of weeks. I imagine that's probably going to be, we're in now, 28th of June. I reckon that's going to be mid-August before we're back up to these kind of levels. But again, who am I? Like, but if Bitcoin is on that kind of trajectory where it's going up, then you know what happens. Everything else follows suit, and certain coins do better than others. Like Solana's been doing pretty well lately. That's been kind of pushing forward more than other coins. Link again is kind of had a little burst. It's shot up. The one that I'm kind of egging on a little bit, which is frustrating in a way, because it's not moving. Is DOT. Because I mean, Polkadot is like, it's massive. The parachain's coming soon, and I just think unless the market, I mean, I know the market's being suppressed, but until this kind of suppression lifts, I just think a lot of these coins, they're just going to go sideways for probably another month at least. I mean, look at Polkadot. I mean, just going back to 14th of June, which is 2 weeks ago, or not even, 2 weeks, it was like $26, and it just can't get momentum. I mean, it tries, but then I don't know. It's like it's not got the backing of the whales. It just needs a big push. It needs to get back over really $21 from that, like get past that kind of level, and then I think we'll see it going onward and upward from there. But I mean, even just getting past $16, like $17, it's getting past $17 would be nice, just to break these previous lows. If you look at that, you've got that low, then this low kind of bounced off that trend line, but then it's just gone downhill there. I mean, it is a higher low, but it's a lower high, and even though it's peaked here and it's split up a bit, it's still not there. And if you look at the stock RSI, it's still going up. It's not kind of plateaued yet. So I think we could still get a bit of upward movement before we get another retest and bounce back down. But again, I'm no expert. I just actually like, sorry, I've just got itchy nose. I just like reading charts or trying to read charts, but I think I'm getting there. There were a couple of stories I wanted to touch on. This one is another really, really bullish story. So you've got a billionaire, Ricardo Salinas Pliego. He wants his bank to be the first in Mexico to accept Bitcoin. So, like, you've had countries adopting Bitcoin, and I think Mexico is a firm favourite to be probably one of the next on the list. But for Mexico's first bank to be a Bitcoin friendly bank, that is pretty bullish news. So the third richest man, as I just mentioned, is doubled down on his support for Bitcoin, revealing plans to open the first Bitcoin accepting bank in the country. On June 27, the Mexican billionaire tweeted his support for the widespread adoption of Bitcoin, noting that his bank is working to become the first in Mexico to accept the world's leading digital asset. The comments follow a massive endorsement for Bitcoin by Salinas, who stated that it was absolutely right to think Bitcoin is the new gold. So Michael Saylor tweeted, "If you were hoping to preserve your wealth for a generation," talking to Richard B. Salinas, "suggest you invest in Bitcoin. The strategy is simple. Choose the highest quality asset you can find and hodl." You gotta love Michael Saylor, haven't you? Unless he does an Elon Musk on us, but hopefully not. So I'm just gonna give this a play actually. So there's a video of the third wealthiest man explaining why he believes all fiat currencies are a fraud, and he wants to hold Bitcoin over the next 30 years. What I'm thinking, will it be here for the next 30 years? Because he's looking pretty old to me.
Yo sí le he metido mucho tiempo, mucho estudio y pienso que...
Yeah, so you've got to just read the subtitles because obviously he's speaking Spanish.
Es un activo que debe de estar en el portafolio de cualquier inversionista. Es un activo que tiene valor internacional, que se cotiza con enorme liquidez a nivel mundial y que por eso debería estar en cualquier portafolio, punto. Lo finito del Bitcoin, los 21 millones, es la clave de todo el tema. Por eso decía yo lo de Ethereum, ¿no? Que mientras no tenga una cantidad finita de emisión, yo no les creo nada, man. Pueden emitir más y se deprecia tu activo, ¿no? Sí. El fiat es un fraude. O sea, mira, yo empecé mi carrera profesional en el 81. El peso estaba a 20 por 1. Hoy estamos a 20,000.
See, this is what you've got to actually realize as well. Like you think about these currencies in these poverty-stricken countries. They're not all necessarily third world countries, but they're not on the same level as Western countries. But when you look at the currency, I mean, just look at this. Like it was 20 to 1 to the US dollar, and now it's 20,000 to 1. I mean, that just says it all. And you think about all the other countries around the world that have like a different, like a currency that's just, the inflation just goes through the roof. I mean, 20 to 1 to 20,000 to 1.
1,000 por 1. A mí no me cuenten. Y eso es aquí en México, pero si lo hacemos en Venezuela o en Argentina o en Zimbabue, sí, las cifras pierden toda proporción, ¿no? Entonces, el fraude del fiat es una cosa inherente al sistema fiat y lo estamos viendo ahorita suceder en Estados Unidos. La emisión monetaria se fue a la luna, ¿me entiendes? Entonces, el dólar como moneda dura pues es una broma.
Si hoy Ricardo Salinas Pliego viajara 30 años en el futuro y pudiera elegir 3 formas de dinero, activos, bienes ¿qué se llevaría? ¿Oro, plata, bolívares, pesos argentinos, pesos
No,
mexicanos?
Ni nada de fiat apestoso por ningún motivo. Ni un peso, nada. Ni un papel fiat, ni un papel fiat.
Sí, definitivamente.
No. Yo sí me llevaría los bitcoins.
Unos bitcoins.
Sí.
Yeah, so he's pretty heavy on Bitcoin, and you can't blame him when you've one of the third, well, what is it, the third wealthiest man, billionaire in Bitcoin. And he's talking about the banking system and the US dollar just being worthless to the peso. Going for an asset like Bitcoin, especially with obviously everything that's been happening lately, and as he mentioned, there's only 21 million, which is the main thing. Going hard in on Bitcoin and having a bank, the first bank in Mexico to accept Bitcoin is, I think it's just going to be one of many. I just think it's going to be a domino effect. And once that happens, it's just going to continue spiraling onward and upward. And tell you, you guys getting in now, you look at stuff and you think it's expensive. Imagine where it's going to be. Just imagine where it's going to be in 4 years' time. After the next halving event, and all these coins you're looking at now. I mean, just imagine, right? Ethereum is what, $2,000. Just look at what it was. Look at what it was. Just let's go back. Am I on Ethereum? Ah, here we are. Why is it not going back? Ah, blooming tether. So change it to Ethereum USD. I mean, just go back to January, November 2019. It was like $130. So we go back 4 years. So this is the peak. The very peak, it got to $1,400. That's at its absolute highest. But then if you look at it, what it was when it kind of settled down, $120. I mean, it went even lower. It went even lower at points. But the point is, if you keep anything for 4 years and you're not buying it at its peak, I mean, even if you class that at its peak, $4,000, which this is nowhere near its peak, by the way, picking it up around this price, in 4 years' time, you'll be thinking, why didn't I buy more? Why didn't I sell a kidney? Why didn't I sell a kid? Why didn't I sell my car? Why didn't I sell my house? Although hindsight is a wonderful thing, it's only expensive because your perspective of it is right now. It's not looking at what the price is in 4 years' time, looking back at what you could have got it for. And there's so many bargains out there where you could make life-changing wealth just by buying it and holding it. And that's all you need to do. You don't need to do any trading. Just buy it and forget about it, and do what I mentioned yesterday in my personal portfolio video, is buy it, hold it, and stake it. Because when you stake it, you take all temptation away. Like truly, you do. You don't have no stress. You don't have no worry. You just actually forget about it, and it's as if you've. It's like what I was saying. I think I mentioned it in yesterday's video as well, where it's like when you've got. I mean, I don't have any money in the bank now because I don't believe in it. I'd sooner have it all in. A USD stable coin and earn 10% interest. But back in the day, before crypto, you'd shove money in a bank and you might lock it into an high interest account, which paid about 2.5%, 3%, thinking that was high interest, but it was locked. You couldn't touch it. Fixed term deposits. That's all that this is with staking, and a lot of it you're not even fixed. You're not, to be honest, a lot of it you're not even fixed term. You can withdraw it when you want. Some of them you might lock in for a 30-day period. Some high interest ones, I think Define do one which is fixed, and that can be for like 180 days. But most of them are just 30-day lock-ins. A lot of them are no lock-ins at all. You just get a percentage on what you stake pretty much straight away. But obviously, to get 11% on a yearly basis, it needs to be in there for 12 months. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. And then the next one I really like, really like Alex Mashinsky. Is the CEO of Celsius, and he still believes Bitcoin is going to get to 160k by the end of the year. And a lot of, to be honest, most people were coming in around 100, 150, 200. A few were like going over 300,000. I mean, nobody knows what it's going to be, because nobody's can really predict what this bull run's going to do. Some people think it's actually over and we're going into a bear cycle. I'm not one of them, even though I've not got all the experience of a lot of these people that have been in it for bull run after bull run. But when I look at the charts and I look at the trend, you look at previous cycles and you look at how it spikes, and then how it spikes right at the end, and then it'll dip down, and then it'll retest like a slightly lower high, and then it'll come all the way down. And then you look at the cycle which we're at now, and it doesn't look anything like what it's looked like before. And combine that with all the hedge funds, all the institutions, the banks, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, countries. How? Like, really, how can this be the end? I mean, surely to God, it's going to go so parabolic. It's going to make the 2017 bull run look like absolutely nothing. So when you've got Alex saying Bitcoin go all the way to 160,000 this year, I actually think he's being conservative, and he probably doesn't want to say anymore, just in case. So just quote here what was said. So although the price of Bitcoin continues to hover around 30k, industry experts are noting that there is a bullish long-term view. To put it into perspective, Alex Mashinsky, Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of Celsius, the centralized cryptocurrency lending platform, told Cointelegraph at Bitcoin 2021 in Miami that he sees Bitcoin reaching 160,000 this year, or possibly a bit lower. We haven't seen the highs yet for 2021. He also further remarked that the crypto market was bound for a correction following Bitcoin's recent all-time high of 630,000. He quoted, "When you go too high too fast, you are bound for a correction. You can see my tweets in both March and February saying we're going to have a crash. We're going to have a correction. I predicted 30,000. Bitcoin is like a spring. We stretch it too much and we put too much leverage. Too many people got greedy." Which he was pretty much spot on with that, wasn't he? But a lot of people quote a lot of stuff, and law of averages, probably 1 in 10 will come right. And obviously, if you said it and you come right 1 in 10, you're going to go back to the 1 in 10 and you remember that, don't you? You don't remember the 9 that failed, you remember the 1 that succeeded. But I do like Celsius. I think I've got Polkadot. Yeah, I have. I've got Polkadot state with Celsius that's earning me, I think that's 13% APY. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Anyhow, I don't want to keep any more of your time. I'm trying to keep it shorter, because one of the previous ones I did was an hour, and I think for a lot of people that's too long. So if you like the video, which I hope you do, subscribe to the channel, which I'd really appreciate, because I know I'm probably the smallest crypto channel in the whole of the interwebs, but I still want to grow. And and we'll still have this intimacy, we'll still have this connection, because the difference being, as I mentioned before, we're in the same position. You might have more of an investment than I've got. So yeah, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and last but not least, invest well, my friends.